RAS is an in-database security mechanism, as I said, included with Enterprise Edition. And it is supporting declarative security policies and providing a more robust end-to-end security for multi-tier applications, giving you the centralized control that cannot be bypassed. And once again, from the docs, essentially saying it advances the security for applications developed for the internet. So you've built an application that provides application users as opposed to database users. Perhaps you've built an application table for all your application users. There's a fundamental question as the application user logs in and authenticates. Should the application user be able to access the data, update the data? And who's going to control that, the application or the database? If you rely on the application tier to do the authorization, and you're working in a large organization, particularly where people use all sorts of different applications and tools that access the same database, you can have a problem. You may perfectly authorize the correct users, but what about all of those other applications and the tools? So your application may work just fine. But what about Toad? What about the SQL developer users? So we want to manage application security for application users rather than database users. We need to manage that. We may need to manage it carefully, and that's what RAS is about. We want to enable the application user to be known during security enforcement. So the application user authenticates as part of the login process, and now the application user is taking actions which execute DML or DDL. And should this be allowed? We need a centralized point of control. RAS lets you configure things in one point, and it doesn't matter which application or tool that users use. You can get the same effect by delegating authorization to an LDAP directory, but then each application has to do that. And you may be able to bypass that if you connect to the database directly. SQL Plus, SQL Dev, Toad, etc. But because RAS is within the database, it will automatically apply to everything, even tools and applications that don't yet exist. And of course, there is integration with Application Express, Apex, which we will show you. Okay, so now I'd like to pass the ball over to John for our more technical portion of the presentation today.